Or presents From the Ladle to the Grave, the story of shallow gravy.
This is Gary Butterfield.
This is Cole Ross.
And don't get confused with a jerk-con.
Oh, but hard times were to come.
We're talking about a kind of a non-episode.
Yeah.
We're talking about a tasty treat.
Yeah, just a little bit of a snack. Compared to what we're going to be doing here. The next episode. Which is the Halloween special that kind of looks forward. This is one that looks back.
Mm-hmm. This is I think that this is a really great in terms of like number of gags and stuff. I don't think this is a great little bit, but I think it's great in illustrating this one of the things I love about the Venture Brothers, which is just two dudes doing something that they thought was fun. They talk like, hey, we should do that, and then actually doing it.
They talk about that in the art book, when they're talking about this, and they acknowledge that like, yeah, this is pretty slight, but we wanted to do it right or whatever. But like the benefit is just kind of like it's the comfort of knowing that it's there, right? It's kind of like, oh, the Venture Brothers is this kind of machine where we have permission built in to be weird and silly and just say, hey, if that isn't that a good idea, let's do that. And I'm very amenable to that, to that idea.
Well, part of something I think is that everybody has that permission and people just forget it.
Right.
Is a thing that as people make stuff, we keep stumbling upon and remembering. Like, right. Oh shit, there's no governing body. Like, why are we spending all this time agonizing about this thing that we want to do?
Yes.
And instead of just doing it, because like, who's gonna stop us? Are we gonna get arrested?
Yeah.
This is that. This is like incredibly anarchic, like totally hard to sell. Anyone who started with this would be entirely lost. It's dependent on a cultural touchstone that no longer exists.
Yep.
Behind the music no longer exist. Not a thing. Music documentaries are very different now.
They're 8 hours long and directed by Peter Jackson.
Yep. And they're mostly just endless takes of Get Back.
Yes.
It's the music video, which I adore, is full of, and the special too is just full of references no one's gonna get.
No, it's pulling from. I mean, it's not just the 80s. Well, because like you see the shot in the video for Jacket that is just Creed. Creed. That was like 1999 or something like that.
Yep. It's and then just weird, deep, like, name checking the producer of all of the Joy Division records.
Right.
Cool.
Not just saying like, Brian Eno, everybody knows who Brian Eno is. Let's get his little weirdo friend as well.
Yeah, what if a weird guy who hung out with David Bowie? So it's very in that way, and being so like unrelentingly inaccessible. I really love this.
Yes.
Not great jokes. I think the song, we'll get to it. I think the song is genuinely great.
Yeah.
This version of it is super good. So this small special is written by Doc Hammer and Jackson Public, aired on August 28th, 2011.
Yep.
For people who don't know what Behind the Music is, which I think we probably do have to reference because people are young and that show hasn't been on since the mid 90s. On a channel nobody really got. It was a very specific kind of music documentary series.
Yes.
About bands that had a formula of like dramatic pauses and that's when things got rough. Yeah. And then cutting to the commercial.
But they had no idea the disaster was on the horizon. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Then Homer decided to follow his passion of polishing and dusting mixing boards. It's a very specific thing. This and then Behind the Laughter, that Simpsons thing, are probably the most enduring bits of Behind the Music.
Probably
stuff.
At least as it has worked its way into as an artifact into pop culture that people still consume. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But lasting the source material.
Yeah. As a reference to that though, and as kind of a repackaging, it is extremely faithful.
Yeah.
Both in the narration. Bill Hader does the narration on this and does an amazing job. Obviously because he's Bill Hader, but also like the visual style on this, they go to great lengths to make it like this mixed media, mixing in like camcorder stuff and like just art assets and photos that they had to mock up to make this happen, to tell the story, kind of interspersed with these talking head interviews that are like obviously like really self-serving. Yeah. Which is always a thing in those. Yeah, no, they had a really good eye for like what makes behind the music, identifiably behind the music.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they came together and did this in the first part of the production cycle for season 5. We talked a lot about the kind of vibe of starting season 5, the new contract. It started coming together. During season 4, during the finale, they had a bigger budget and they either like, hey, that many episodes killed us. Let's do like a short season. Let's do 10 episodes.
Yeah. If we can do 10 episodes, I've got 2 seasons for you right now, is what they said.
Or 2 episodes for you right now.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, if we can do 10 episodes, we have 2 seasons for you right now. I don't know what show that is, but it's not the Venture Brothers.
What? No, it just, no, if we can do 10 episodes a piece, we can do 2 seasons. We will sign on for 2 seasons. Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Another big thing is that they started working with a new animation studio, Titmouse, instead of Noodle Soup. Titmouse based out of LA, the studio that also worked on Metalocalypse. And that made it was a huge difference for them. Instead of sending everything away to Korea, they could work with a team that was somewhat more local, and more responsive. And it was less of a mystery what they were going to get back.
And they're friends too.
Yes.
Like it was friends of Jackson's, and they wanted to start a New York branch. And they're like, hey, come to New York and you'll have some shows right out the back.
Yes.
Including Venture Brothers. They had really great resources in terms of animators and stuff. This was a big boon for them.
Doesn't necessarily show up here in this one because this is animated in Flash.
Yeah. It's got a weird look. It looks like the first season of the show. People got mad about that.
I can't understand that. It is a stylistic departure anyway.
They also got mad at them releasing the single.
Yeah.
I love that anecdote where Doc is like, they said we were going to do this for money and I've made 11 cents from this. It's on my fridge.
Yeah.
The song, one of the weirdest things in the book, I love Doc Hammer. He's a real weirdo. Him talking about he has that extended like multi-paragraph thing about not wanting to go back and write a chorus for a song.
Yeah.
That is one of the weird, as a band guy, is one of the weirdest things I've ever read. He obviously has very strong feelings about it.
Yeah.
It's really strange. It's like, yeah, it didn't have a chorus, and who wants to do that? Who does that? That's the stupidest thing in the world. You just make a new song. You don't go back. And I'm like, no, of course you go back.
Yeah.
Like, it's good to go back.
Yeah. Like if this was some magnum opus that was like, obviously like really near and dear to your heart, I could see, maybe leaving it untouched, right? Saying like, yeah, no, just I want to have that be. This is a novelty song about different kinds of jackets.
For your novelty cartoon.
Yes.
I also in between now and then I listen to Doc's band. It's kind of good.
Nice.
Weep. Like they're not bad. They're it's a little like New York slick.
Yeah,
for
I can
me,
see
but
that.
the songs are good. And the songs are all way too long too. But like each one has like a 2.5 minute awesome song in it that I've listened to. So it's like pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I've had the bass line to Jacket stuck in my head for like 2 weeks. So
Jacket's a masterpiece. Yeah. This song is so good. The chorus they added is very good. The lyrics are funny. Like it is a great song, and the video is really funny. The video is actually my favorite part of the special.
Oh yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
So this will be a shorter episode because it's an 11-minute thing that 30% of it's a music video. But we'll get into it. There's some good stuff in there.
Yeah, let's do. And it opens up just like a behind the music episode does, talking about from the highlands, from the badlands. Nobody expected them to come and set the music world on fire. With just like stock footage of the desert around the compound. And it's like, well, technically it was my kitchen we set on fire.
very behind the music.
Very.
And we get to see that later. Young Hank began his life as the better-looking son of Dr. Thaddeus Venture.
Yeah.
Once you find out that they just hired a guy to do this, it ends up making tons of sense in universe.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Yeah. To read to read this as like the voiceover and put this together. Yeah.
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 Rusty, talks about how music's in his blood. Like he did this, of course, he's a little musical theater guy. Brock gave Hank his first bass.
Yeah.
And as we mentioned, I love them showing Hank playing it horribly just at the Christmas tree for all of these old, superheroes basically just had to stand around and watch Hank play garbage bass.
God, that is such a that is such a thing that happens. Like we need to support him. I love that. I love the mnemonic that Brock taught Hank to remember what the strings on the bass are. EADG. Every adversary dies gloriously. Because of course that would be Brock's.
What's the standard one? I can't remember. I just have the memorized, but I can't remember the standard one.
I know the one for guitar. It's Eddie 8 Dynamite, Goodbye Eddie.
Oh, I've never heard that one before. There's got to be tons of them.
Oh yeah,
of course, yeah. So they don't. He's talking about he had this band. He's missing a front man, and it's just him playing absolutely trash bass with helper. We got Dermot. Dermot's doing nunchuck tricks. One of the things, I can't remember if I mentioned this when Dermot first came out of this. There's a They Might Be Giants song called Circular Karate Chop that is about a Dermot.
Okay.
And I've never, it's one of the biggest like media matches I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, just like,
it's all about him, coming up with his own kung fu name. Like he's got a telescoping roundhouse kick and shit. It's like unbelievably Dermot.
Yeah. Cutting paper swords out of martial arts magazines to pin up tape up to his wall, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah. There's a good song about a Dermot here, and him having the nunchucks is part of it.
Yeah. Well, of course, every Dermot is born with nunchucks in his hands. It's quite painful.
Yeah. Absolutely painful. Kung Fu Mom.
Yeah.
Too. C-section.
So Dermot's mom, and actually his grandma, calls out one of Dermot's lies. Dermot's lying like, oh yeah, just grew up on the streets and went to juvie for, beating up this kid or whatever. No, he's lived here in the trailer with his sister the whole time. She's keeping up the fiction.
I love that he has his own martial art, the Iron Punch process. It's really good.
Oh God.
His actual mom, sister, says, he used to sing Spice Girls songs. He yells to shut up. He's who he is, of course. And they recap him going to the day camp.
Yes.
To look for his father.
Yeah.
This is they do some plot stuff in both. We're talking about two specials in a row, and both of them have plot stuff.
Yeah.
Even though the next one was never meant to be a special, and that's why it makes sense. But this is early in the documentary, Rusty thinks Brock is Dermot's kid.
Yes.
This is showing him find out.
Yeah. Important detail. It makes it makes a little bit more sense why Rusty would treat Dermot the way that he does at the beginning of the Halloween special. Yeah.
Yeah. He has his reasons.
Yeah.
He knows by that point.
Yes.
And Brock talks about there's no joke here. It's just a flashback to a thing I liked that Brock did when he was just real mad at the kid. He's like, this fat kid. You ever see a kid, you just want to beat on him,
But you can't. Yeah.
It just, of course you relate to just wanting to beat the shit out of a kid.
Just a point of reference that all of us have. Yeah, and then of course Dermot lies about the fight that went down. Dean has to come in and say, no, I'm the one who beat up Dermot. He's a liar. Everybody is saying he's a liar. Gosh, like the little like head fakes that they do to this. Hank and Dermot found out that they shared a father that day, and his name is Rock and Roll.
Yep, very cute.
Yeah.
Helper joins the band. Rusty programmed him as a karaoke machine back in the day, and says, "That's right, I invented karaoke."
I'm sure you didn't.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, I know he didn't. It's invented in Japan. It means empty orchestra. Dean was the first journalist who covered Shallow Gravy. The documentary talks about like it's picking up media
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's just the Venture Home News, of course.
Yeah, and he talks about like, oh, we weren't exactly the slick weekly back then, but it was still the fact checking. He says, yeah, we used a ditto machine and stapled it on the side. And we get, is this where it's confirmed that that Dean printed the blueprints? Oh, that's like a redo of the gag, right? Because Monarch wrote in asking like, oh, I'm real curious how you like your swinging pad is laid out, Deanie. Yeah. Can you do this? And so I guess Dean just kept on printing them.
Yeah, they just show the thing again.
Yeah,
I think that they're just reusing the asset. I didn't even see this as this special presenting a joke.
Yes,
with that, I just thought they were showing the issue.
Yeah,
because that's during Tears of a Sea Cow is that issue.
Yeah,
where they first mentioned Shallow Gravy.
Mm-hmm.
We got 21 talking about getting like a single, and it just sounding like experimental, 10,000 bases on top of each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like a truck crash, but each truck is made out of bases, and he says it rules. That sounds like a fucking nightmare to me.
Oh yeah, I hate experimental music. I have a lot of friends who listen to garbage noise stuff, and I never liked it.
Yeah,
and it always drove me nuts. Just your Metal Machine music garbage, get that out of here.
Yeah. So like a little bit of plot has moved here with this again because of this weird. This is kind of in between the fact that we have 21, telling the story about getting the single, but his voice is disguised and his face is pixelated. And he is in a Sphinx costume. This is kind of revealing that, yeah, he actually did leave the Monarch's employ. Like he is part of Sphinx after the events of Operation Prom.
And he keeps Sphinx going.
Yes.
While everyone else is folded back into the OSI.
Mm-hmm.
Hank and Dermot talk about how one another suck in the early days.
Yep.
I think it is this comes up later when they mention this, but I love one of my favorite little details, and I'm going to use the R slur here in a second.
Okay.
But I love they're talking about they suck, and then later Dermot is like, or Hank is like, yeah, without Dermot telling me everything I did was retarded, I actually really improved. And it just like, it sucks to have a Dermot in your life just telling you everything you do is stupid.
Right.
Just kill your inner Dermot.
Like, I mean, for some of us, our Dermot is illiteracy. For some of us, it's inequality. For some of it's an actual pimply teen named Dermot.
He's got a literal Dermot, and you don't want to have a Dermot just telling you everything you do sucks.
Yeah, just immediately clipping your wings because it doesn't like line up with his vibe, and because he has to be the one who always kind of comes out on top.
Yeah. I love that little bit about them, like just that, he says the line later, but it's about them telling each other they suck.
Yeah.
In their early days.
Mm-hmm. Support your friends, guys. Come on.
Yeah. Or at least be neutral.
Oh, of course.
You get friends that do stuff that you don't like, right?
Yes.
Like I have had many friends that are in bands that are not to my taste.
Mm-hmm.
You just keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
It's super easy. Or you find a good way to compliment them, like, hey, that was really cool. That the sound was really good.
Yeah.
You can come up with a lot of nice things to say that aren't lies.
Yeah. And
if you don't like somebody's songs.
Don't consciously stand in somebody's way if they're doing their thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course Dermot would do that. I'm not criticizing it as a thing. I'm just glad that Hank shook it off.
Yes. The Hank actually improved. And in order to improve, they needed a little bit of break. The break happened when tragedy strikes. That I laughed because I forgot this detail that this was included here. Again, the trademark behind the music. This would be what would come in right before a commercial break. But tragedy strikes, and it shows the ending of season 3. Helper is mortally wounded in a car accident. Which they have to get everybody to comment on. 21's like, no, it was blown up on purpose.
Well, and that's real weird, right? Because 21 by this point in the continuity knows that it's happenstance.
Yes. Yeah.
The Monarch also kind of takes credit for it, which is weird, right?
I mean,
did you figure out how this sets into the plot? Is the implication the Monarch didn't blow up the car? He was immobile, vomit leaking out of his mouth in the Death's Head panoply.
I mean, it's kind of like when Monarch put his name at the bottom of the list of suspects, right? He had no idea what it was about. He just was really frustrated that it was on his list. It
wasn't about him.
Yeah, if there was an explosion on the Venture compound, he was going to take credit for it. I just read that as him being, a self-centered glory hound.
I mean, yeah, I get that. It's just weird that it comes right after 21 is like, that wasn't an accident.
Yeah.
And we just had a really long, pretty heartfelt, emotional episode about him realizing it was an accident.
Yes.
That's a bummer to me. This feels like an oversight, not to like CinemaSins it. It feels like backsliding.
Yeah.
To me.
I think that it could be poorly conveyed to a certain degree. Like, maybe it's, that wasn't an accident. The car blew up. Like an accident is when somebody falls asleep and they ride off the road and into a ditch. Right.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So maybe he was doing that. He delivered it angrily. And he also said, somebody was in that car. Why do you care about the fucking robot?
The robot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that would have been fine on its own.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just it kind of a nitpick, but also we just did the prom episode.
Yes.
Another one of those little double entendre things. Rusty's like, helper's family. And when family dies, what you do is you rebuild them, like a nice little cloning nod.
Yep. Yeah. And then Hank's line about this, I had to make sure to quote this. 1 second he was there and the next second he was everywhere. The lawn, the roof. So cute. Good. Yeah. But Hank took his time and started working on his bass playing and developing the riff for Jacket. Again, killer riff, right? And Dermot fell into depression. He had to go back to his workaday job at the supermarket.
Yep. I guess I am going to have to become an ultimate fighter.
It can always fall back on that. Can always rely on the UFC money.
Hank calls Dermot with the riff for Jacket. He's like, this is a killer riff. He originally wanted to write this lyric about Jack the Ripper. And he's like, oh, that shitty old guy who murdered people. That doesn't sell. What sells? Jackets. Everybody likes jackets.
Yeah.
Very sweet.
The relationship between, I know we made the joke about the Beatles earlier, but the relationship between Hank and Dermot is really funny to me because Dermot tries to be all edgy and try hard. And then Hank comes in and with his naivete, softens it and makes it like goofy. Right. And that to me is kind of exactly Lennon and McCartney. Lennon's like,
they keep rubbing off on each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm rubbing off on him. He's rubbing off on me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just and that is the thing that made Lennon and McCartney work together because either of them alone is fucking intolerable. But when they when they love in each other, that's when it works. Yeah.
They do a good job.
Yeah.
Of that for sure.
Yeah. So Rusty had repaired Helper into the walking eye, and Dermot proposed a new name for the band, Shallow Grave. And then it just cuts to Helper and he does like a little beep, 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 beep. And Hank translate like, oh, that's pretentious. And so he added the E and made it Shallow Gravy. Right. And he goes, get it. Yeah. Because of course he does that. Of course. They debut on the roof of the compound again, a Beatles thing. Rusty is very upset about having them play there and then just says, I told him to go anywhere, and he gives them a tour van to get them out of his hair. Yeah. Here, this cool old, I can't remember the name of it, but these 3-wheel cars that actually existed and are rad. Yeah. Love those things. I think it was like a Peugeot or something like that. It's with a D. It's like a diameter car or something like that. It's named after a guy. Yeah. It's a cool van, and they mostly go and they play kids' birthday parties. It's a real mismatch. Yep. It's short tour because they just keep it's a bad thing. There's a live version on the EP from one of these. Of course. This is when Pete White noticed them. Again, I got a nitpick. Amateur DJ and sometimes scientist. Pete's a computer technician. He's got a job. Yeah. He's never been a scientist. But he was the producer at this point. And Dermot calls it overproduced, which is apparently a reference to a very specific Joy Division bit. That's unknown pleasures. That's a perennial thing. Like it's kind of like saying that this wine's a little bit too dry. Like if you lack anything to say about like a piece of music and you want to sound smart about it, you can just say, "Oh, it's a little overproduced." That's people have been saying that forever. They were saying that about Nevermind. Yeah. When the specific the blocking and stuff. I've seen the of it when they show him talking about it. Okay. And stuff is from a documentary. Gotcha. Like a Joy Division thing. But not just saying it's overproduced. Yeah. It is real weird that people said that about Nevermind. Yeah. And things can certainly be overproduced. It's not
vorpal flaw. I think
Yes.
it's pretty rare.
Yeah. But they have this put together. Pete discovered them at their biggest gig at the prom, and like the the documentary gets derailed because a line comes up that is way too stupid even for the VO artist, and then it just cuts to inside the VO booth. They're like, "Hey guys, I'm not going to read that," and they good him on.
Yeah, whoever they hired. So we never get to hear the line. Then we just cut to the credits here. Over the credits, Rusty learns that Dermot's last name is Fictel. He's like, "Oh, I gotta go."
Wait, he's 17. This interview's over. Like,
yeah,
we need to start go. We need to go and get ourselves into cover your ass mode a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then they play the video. The video is great. I love them. Engaging all their friends for this. Like the line of jackets. Is really cute. We didn't start the fire
with Brock
or not Hatred.
Oh yeah.
Hatred and Rusty dressed up as the mom from the video. That's where they set their kitchen on fire.
Yup. Oh gosh, Dean. I forget what video
Venus?
that is. Or he's
I'm
like
your Venus.
Well, he does the Venus one, but also he's like dressed up as the devil and like rising from fire in the woods.
From Venus.
Is it? Okay.
That's from the I'm Your Venus video.
Oh,
yeah. The other thing he does in this is he does the Technicolor thing, but I don't think that's from a video.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the sideways dancing in the fire is from the I'm Your Venus, I'm Your Fire video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They do the subterranean homesick blues where they drop the lyric cards. Yeah.
It's great.
It's good.
And I love the anecdote in the book about them. Like, this is just me and Jackson spending hours on two computers trying to come up with every type of jacket we could.
This is our job.
Cute.
This is our weird ass job. This is what we have.
The lyrics are great. I love the chorus. Jackets are everywhere. It's like, yeah, they sure are. Good point.
And then they end by saying, "Oh, it's all the same jacket. All jackets are one."
All the same jacket are the dungaree, denim, and jean jacket.
Yeah.
Are all the same jacket. So it's not an I'm every woman thing. It's all me thing.
Yeah.
It's right after those three jackets, which mean the same thing. It's very good.
Yeah.
Super good song. And then they released a single of this that has the orchestral version and the conjecto techno mix, or like conjecta techno or something like that. Very good.
Yeah. It's great. Man.
I love it.
It's a Dymaxion car, Gary.
Dymaxion.
That's what. Yeah. That was sorry. It just came to me. Yeah.
I knew it was a D.
Yeah. It was what was it? The Buckyball dome guy, Buckminster.
Yeah.
Yes.
Buckminster Fuller.
Yep.
Yeah. Creator of the geodesic dome. Incredibly efficient, cheap to make, but we wouldn't do them because they're eyesores.
Well, yeah. Also, living in a roundhouse seems weird.
I like a roundhouse.
Huh.
Whenever I see a house that has a part that's like round that sticks out, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. I always think of when Hank Scorpio had can you hang up my jacket on the wall? Oh, there are no walls. Yeah. That's what I think of. I'm
into it. Yeah. No walls. Why take off your jacket? They're everywhere. They're great. Did you listen to the song? Yeah. So that's it for this episode. It's slight. The next one we're talking about the Halloween special, which really should be episode 2 of season 5, and is another kind of like not full of like amazing gags, but moves the plot forward.
It does. And I like
charm.
I like Ben, and I wish Ben stuck around.
Yeah, Ben's real fun.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for listening. We appreciate you. Take care. If you are hearing this, thank you for tuning into Duckstream. We appreciate you having done that.
Yeah.
And patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv, ratings, reviews on Apple Podcast and Podcast Addict.
You said it all.
I did.
Just as you have thoughts about season 5, feel free to write them in. Go to duckfeed.tv/contact, and click the orb button, as you have thoughts. Yeah.
That is the place. Yep. And until next time,
go Team Venture.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Braden Cameron here, your daddy-o on the radio. I've got stacks of wax, mounds of sound, so everybody get poggers lit and let the hype train flow, because we're going to be playing the best Orb Presents tonight. All your favorite Orb Presents hits from back in the day. Starting it off with Season 5,